Hello, everyone. I know it's been a little bit since I've made a video. Now that the Elks season is over, I just wanted to make a short video giving some brief thoughts that I have about this season, where the team goes from here. Number one, obviously, Trey Ford was the biggest story. I think it goes without saying. He obviously had a lot of great moments this season, but during the last half of the season, there were times the offense was too dependent on him to play hero ball. And also, you had teams like Toronto who almost seemed like they had him figured out. Obviously, the way he played this year is not necessarily going to always work going forward. He's going to have to develop his passing skills more. And I also think that the team needs another offensive mind in the room. Obviously, Jarius Jackson did a fairly good job with the situation he had. Obviously, came in middle of the season, winless team, just needing a spark. And, Jackson did what he could. Obviously, it helped that the line improved a little bit with Ivy and Boyko being solid bookend tackles, but we'll get to the line a little bit later. Ford is a talent, and I think he's going to stick around for a while. That said, the big name receivers didn't quite make the impact I would have hoped. With Geno Lewis, he was just about as good as advertised. It was just the missed time due to injury that really slowed him down. Stephen Dunbar almost looks redundant in this offense going forward. I don't know if he'll really be a part of the team going forward. It wouldn't surprise me if they traded him this off season, just because there were so many games he disappeared. And I still think he has value he can bring to a team, and another team might be willing to take him on in a trade. Think that Kyron Moore and Dylan Mitchell are both pretty solid options with those depth receivers. But obviously, this is probably going to be a run first offense going forward because Kevin Brown had a pretty good year. A line that is more built to run block. Like I said earlier about the tackles, they were better in run blocking than they were in pass protection, though they weren't necessarily bad at it. They would get beat at times, but obviously it was just an evolving unit over the course of the season. Interior of the line is still a little shaky to me. I think that's an area that can be improved. The interior of the defensive line, also another area that needs to be looked at. Really need a run stopping defensive tackle. That would be my number one priority. Guys be available. Kind of hard to think off the top of my head just because those guys, if you can find them, got to hold on to them, build your line around those rocks in the middle. Pass rush obviously was solid with Serezna and Leonard both doing their thing. Depth at linebacker is an issue. When Niles Morgan was out, the unit really suffered. Secondary had its ups and downs. Very young unit. Kai Gray was excellent this year. I'm optimistic about the back end of the defense going forward. The front seven, I think, needs some retooling in free agency through the draft or trading. So a lot of people are probably going to have pretty high expectations going into 2024. I am not quite as optimistic about the future of this team as others might be, just because I still don't trust Chris Jones. I still think he is somewhat stubborn, set in his ways, and You might even think of him as a little bit of a reactionary, like he doesn't anticipate the problem coming down the line and just only becomes reactive when he has to. And due to that way he has gone about coaching the team through 2 years here, leads me to not be optimistic. Despite the aging roster in Winnipeg, I still think Mike O'Shea is a better coach and will have a plan of what to do when Kolaros retires and some of those other guys they've built their roster with leave. BC should be solid in the years to come with Rick Campbell and ownership in BC that really seems to be invested in building the team there. Obviously, Dave Dickinson is just solid, does his thing. Now, Calgary is going to need to retool their roster considerably, and they still have quarterback questions going into next year. And then you have the Riders, team that obviously is going to have a new head coach next year. They still have a pretty talented roster. Their big question is at quarterback. Will Trevor Harris return? Or is it going to be Mason Fine's team now? Or do they bring in someone else? Regardless, in the immediate future, I don't see Edmonton finishing higher than third. And even that seems generous at this point. Now, if we do get a brilliant offensive mind in and this offense absolutely takes off under Trey Ford, then why not? Could be a playoff team this coming year if the offense is dominant. But Chris Jones' defense, I just feel like it's dated, to be honest. We'll see what happens. Obviously, there is a lot to be determined between now and next June. So let me know if you think that the future is bright for the Elks, if you're cautiously optimistic, or think that you're not sold on the future of this team like I am. Anyways, thank you for watching. Hit the like and subscribe button. We'll see you next time.